The descendants of Charlemagne have carved out a power base for themselves and taken their rightful place on the Holy Roman throne. Now it's time to look further afield and take action against those who would defy their imperial mandate. Welcome back to our Karling Restoration campaign. There's a few things we want to get done today. We'd like to empower the Holy Roman Empire as much as possible. There's a few bits of land that have been taken by some certain ne'er-do-wells that we'd like to retake for the Empire, not including the parts of France has taken. We're not quite ready to go to war with them yet. One thing I'd like to do is take this little town here. It's quite a valuable one, and it's right next to our land, so it'll be easy to get control there. Fortunately, this nation is a vassal of Flanders, who is a vassal of England, so we'll need to fight them, but it shouldn't be too difficult. Flanders actually controls some land that is part of the Holy Roman Empire, so we should be able to get the Imperial ban CB on them. Once we take that land, we'll be able to form the Netherlands as well. It'd be nice to take all of Flanders, really. It's all rather valuable territory, which will do good as part of our empire, although we're not much of an empire. As discussed, we also want to retake some of the land that the Two Sicilies has taken that is rightfully Holy Roman. They're currently fighting a coalition against the northern Italian states who do not approve of their reckless expansion, and it looks like the coalition's going to win, so we'll have to see what happens there. We might not need to fight them. Hungary's also done some expanding into Austria, which is something we don't particularly like. We'd like to restore this land to Holy Roman rule. There's also a heretic prince in the empire somewhere. I'm not sure where. Let me switch to the religious map mode. Is that a Sunni nation? It is. Why is there a Sunni nation here in North Italy? This guy, they're Sunni. How? They're a vassal of these guys. How? How did they become a vassal? How did that happen? Well, I guess we could enforce religious unity on them. It won't cost us any money because the Holy Roman Empire will be paying for it, and we'll convert them to Catholicism. There's a chance their overlord will enforce religion on them again, but if they do, their loyalty will likely go so low that they'll form an independence movement, which might just solve the issue for us. Let's enforce religious unity as discussed. They convert to Catholicism. They're still a vassal though, which is an annoyance, but we might be able to solve that if they form an independence movement. We're going to ignore the Two Sicilies for now because there's a chance the coalition defeats them and forces them to release their stolen territory. We're also going to begin expanding our armory network. We're currently having a manpower deficiency, which we'd really want to fix so that our cavalry can resupply and remain dominant. Looks like the Two Sicilies lost. They do still control some land that is rightfully Holy Roman though, so we'll have to think about defeating them there. They've also reduced the Pope to just a one province minor. I wonder, the Pope is actually a vassal of Tunis of all nations. Not sure how that happened. Maybe we should try and agitate for liberty in the Pope to encourage him to gain his independence back, or maybe we should liberate Rome and restore the Pope as a rightful part of the Holy Roman Empire. The Emperor has died. Long live the new Emperor. At least it would be if we were Emperor, but we've lost the Empire ship. It shouldn't be too hard to regain it. We just need to improve our relationships a little with the nations that were voting for us, but with the death of our very beloved ruler, are now saying, you know, maybe we shouldn't vote for his son. Annoying, but it shouldn't be too difficult. No one else has enough votes to become emperor themselves. And there we go. We just need one more vote now. So we'll continue buttering up the electors. And our Imperial ban casus belli has become available, even though we're not the emperor. So we could still fight it. Should we call France in? There's a risk that France will occupy the land and say they want it for themselves. But at the same time, since we have France as an ally, surely we should use them. Let's get our military up, and I think we'll position our cavalry regulars in such a way that we really want to move in and snipe the city here, Dornick, because this is on the kind of on the border with France. Maybe France won't care because they don't actually share a border. I'm curious to see, really. Will declaring war affect our election though? Let's try and get elected before we fight any wars. Yep, there we go, we've been elected. We almost have enough imperial authority to pass another reform. For now though, let's deal with these Englishmen. We'd rather not tolerate their presence on the continent any further. For some reason, this small little nation here that was a vassal of Flanders didn't join, which is a bit of an annoyance, but I suppose it's not a big deal. Hypothetically, if we annex Flanders, I guess we'll gain them as a vassal, which would essentially cut out the middleman of having to fight them in the first place. It looks like these guys have once again converted to Islam because it's been enforced by their ruler. Their loyalty is at 0 now, so there's a good chance they'll form an independent movement. We'll have to see. Hopefully they do, and that way we won't have to attack their ruler ourselves, because an independent movement by them should just win. Yep, looks like these guys have formed an independence movement as we wanted them to. We'll join the movement. It will save us having to get a casus belli to help them gain independence. The French are doing a pretty good job of beating up England for us. Let's actually check the... Have I made a miscalculation? For some reason we can't take this land. Why? It is a part of the Holy Roman Empire. Oh, for some reason Flanders is not showing up in the list. How odd. Is it because they're a vassal? We full occupied Flanders, but we still can't take any of their land. I guess because they're not the... Even though they were the war goal, the war target, because it defaulted to being a war with England, I guess because of the CB we're only allowed to take land from the war target, but we can't take any English land because none of it's part of the HRE. That's not the biggest deal. It is a little annoying. But one thing we can do is just demand they give us Flanders as a vassal. It'll anger some people in the area, but I'm not too bothered. Only like 3 of them are going above 50 antagonism. I mean, what do we care what Utrecht thinks, right? We will start improving relationships with them though. Is there anything else we should take? We could ask them to release some territory maybe. We could liberate Cornwall. That's always nice. Oh no, actually it's too expensive. Poor Cornwall bros, they can't become independent. I guess we'll just take Flanders then. Flanders is going to be a little unhappy that they've just been defeated and vassalized by us, but it's not a big deal. And then we'll be able to integrate them and merge them into the HRE, as they should be. Now, I think we're going to go for Hungary next. We've already got our Imperial ban CB on them. France isn't looking to join this one, though. They're in debt. They don't have any... let's wait a second for their levies to be decommissioned. Question is, though, do we need France? We could call in Austria, Bohemia, and our vassals. We'd be outnumbered, though, mainly because Hungary's allied with Poland. Is there anyone else we could potentially bring in as an ally who'd be able to match, or at the very least, do some damage? I suppose we could try and break them up with their alliance with Poland. We could sabotage relationship. That might help a little. Let me look at the war again. Poland's likeliness to join is 40. Take away 10 from low manpower. Problem is they trust Hungary a lot. If we got an alliance with Poland, that might be enough to make them not want to join. Let's try and do that. We've got enough imperial authority to pass another law. There are some laws that take higher imperial authority. Also, based on our imperial authority, how much money are we making? We're making 6, nearly 7 ducats from the HRE at the moment. I'm sure that could be higher. So what law should we pass? We've got the best taxation law, so we don't need to worry about taxation laws anymore. We've also got 1 imperial law that benefits the emperor. We need another one, I think, to begin passing higher centralization laws. Yes, we can see we have 1 of 2 that is required to pass higher centralization laws. In total, we'll need 5 in order to fully absorb the empire. We could go for a military law. This one would force free subjects to contribute manpower to the empire. I'm not sure how much that would be though. How many free subjects are there in the empire? Not free subjects, free cities. There's 67, so quite a few. We are still down on our manpower growth, mainly due to army maintenance. So it might be nice to get some manpower that way. It's only free cities though, and it's not an imperial, it's not a law that benefits the empire, I don't think. At higher levels, this law will grant manpower from every nation in the HRE. We'd need to pass each of these tiers though. So it's going to be quite a while before we can get there. At the very end, it does become an emperor comfort policy. Maybe instead we should go for something that will increase our imperial authority generation. If we save up our imperial authority a little, we could vote for imperial cities to become subjects of the emperor, imperial free city subjects. I'm not really sure what that entails. Well, we can look here. Can't be annexed. They can't cancel the relationship. We can't cancel the relationship. They pay us 20% of their economic base every month. They won't join our wars though, so they'll only be an economic vassal, I suppose. Then if we level that policy up one more time, they'll become direct imperial cities, which I'm guessing can join wars. Yes, looks like they'll join wars in this state. But we'll need to get a second emperor comfort policy to pass that in the first place. So maybe we should think about something else. Maybe we should change our electoral laws. If we go for imperial dynastic preference, Karlings will nearly always win, and we really just want to secure the emperorship as much as possible. It'll also increase imperial authority gain a little by passing this one. It will upset the various members of the empire, but in a way, by increasing our reason to elect by 50, it will kind of counteract the minus 50 that we'll lose from passing it. Is there anything else I might want to pass? We could also improve the Imperial Diet. That'll increase Imperial authority gain, but it doesn't really give us much of a benefit. It gives us a different parliament. I'm not really sure how this parliament functions. It says prince electors are members of the parliament. So maybe there'll be unique parliamentary issues. Maybe some that increase Imperial authority. That might be neat. I think we're just going to go for Emperor Dynastic Preference. It gives us a little bit of Imperial authority and ensures it's easier to become elected, which are all things we want. I tried passing the law and I saw that it failed, and I was wondering why, and it looks like we're not getting enough of the princes to back the law. Let's see, let's let them all vote. Is there a way for us to influence princes? Does it say why they're voting a certain way? It might just be due to my low relationship from previously passing laws that favour the emperor. Although it says we're going to pass the law now, I suppose we'll see. Even though the law had the more votes for than against, well, it said it was going to pass, but it looks like it's not passing. I wonder if I'm doing something wrong here. It's not costing me imperial authority, and we're not getting the new law. As I said, maybe it's just due to everyone's unhappiness with me. Maybe instead then let's go for the early Imperial Diet. It'll improve everyone's relationship with me by a little, and it will give us Imperial authority anyway. It'll also give us access to that different parliament, so we'll get to see how that works. This should easily pass since, yeah, it's being backed by everybody because it's a favoured policy by the Imperial members. There we go, we passed the early Imperial Diet. Did it change our parliament, or was I mistaken? I think I might have been mistaken. It looks like it changes the parliament of the HRE itself to this early Imperial Diet. Maybe this affects who votes and who doesn't. Maybe I should have actually read things before I click them, but that would require me to be a sensible person. Yeah, as it says here, the early Imperial Diet excludes everyone other than prince electors, archbishop electors, and imperial princes, and gives strong voting power to the emperor, prince electors. But so then what diet did we have before? We just had the traditional diet, which doesn't seem to have any effects. Maybe that's the point. It's not a very good system. So we've reformed to a better system. Maybe it'll be easier to pass things now. We've gained our CB on the two Sicilies. Unfortunately, no one's willing to join our war, and I'm not sure we could win on our own. Should we attempt it? They've only got 1,000 regulars. The rest are all levies. Surely our 2,000 cavalry can stamp down on them. They've also got province though. Or Provence. Provence is in a union with them, which is annoying. It'd be nice if we could call at least someone like Austria in, or Bohemia, but neither of them is willing. They lack the will. Apparently we can call the Rhine in if we promise them land. I'm not sure what land they could even get. It's not like they border anything. Maybe let's call them in anyway. I'm curious to see, well, even if they can't take any land, will they still get angry? Let's call them in. Now we're going to need to fight a little carefully, as discussed. I guess we also have Flanders in the war since they're our vassal, so that's a little nice. We're going to bring everyone together, put our best general in our nation in charge, put those cavalry on the flanks, and then we'll go. I guess we'll try and knock out this little nation here first of all, and they don't have any forts, so we should just be able to occupy them nice and cleanly. Let's see if we can't just crush the provincial armies. Provence is pretty forted up, so taking their land is going to be a little annoying. I saw Provence's army walking around here somewhere. We need to be a little careful. Ah, there they are. We need to be a little careful of attrition, because we're not going to have food access unless we request it. There's the provincial army gone, a full stack wipe, as literally exactly as we please. Our vassals went over and occupied the small little nation here. Can we not separate? We probably can't separate peace because the war hasn't gone on long enough. Or maybe, I don't think we can separate peace via the imperial ban. Yeah, it says we cannot negotiate separate pieces. How odd. I suppose it's not a big deal. We can at least take the provinces of the empire from Naples. We could also ask them to release land. That might be the way to go. Just have them release as much land as possible. Maybe we can even convince those small little nations that have their land released to join the Holy Roman Empire. Surely they'll like us for liberating them, right? We've reached the age of discovery and the Italian wars have begun. We're of course the leader of the Holy Roman League. Too bad we began this war when we did, I guess, or we could have done an Imperial League war. Alright, so what should we grab for this age? I think it's likely going to be administration, as it pretty much always is. In this age, we can gain access to missionary schools, which is honestly one of the best advances in the game because it increases popular conversion speed by 10. Not 10%, 10 in general. To give you an idea what that means, in case you're unaware, the default for pop conversion speed is 2. So just slapping another 10 on that means you can convert very quickly. And as we're not going to be colonizing, I don't think, there's not much reason for us to go diplomatic. And military, it doesn't actually give anything that nice in this area. It gives plus 10 morale, I guess, which is nice. But it doesn't do anything to strengthen our actual army. I guess army tradition plus 10. And it gives us some antagonism decrease of minus 10 here. But it's actually largely naval upgrades and a slight army maintenance minus 5. It's not speaking to me, so we're going to go admin. We managed to catch Naples' army. This might be a bad fight for us, though. We're on a mountain, aren't we? Actually, no, it's just a hill. Surely our cavalry can carry it. Well, yeah, looks they carried the day pretty easily, killing 5,000 of them. Problem is food access. I keep getting food access from France, and then they decide to take it away. Oh, could we use favors to pull them into the war? It looks like it. Okay, I guess we'll do that then. France is now in the war. I guess that means we can go home and leave the war to the French. The Naples decided to attack us, and we dealt with them pretty well. Are they just going to keep striking at us on this mountain? Maybe we should just stay here then. Problem is, of course, lack of food. For some reason, though, we've been trapped and we can't escape from our small little mountain location. Oh no, there we go, we can leave now. Let's head home and leave this conflict to the French. It's about time they made themselves useful for their rightful masters. Righty, I think we're going to end the war here. France has gone off and done all the fighting for us. We lost 70,000 men, but none of those were ours. I think we lost around 2, maybe 3,000 men, if I can find myself in the list here. Yeah, there we go. 2,800 men. The rest were all French, so not our problem. We're going to release a lot of this land. We're going to take this land simply because there's no one we can release here. We're going to take it ourselves, and we might just sell it to Florence, who has cause in it. We can't return the land to Florence for some reason. At least I didn't see it in the peace deal option. Although maybe instead of taking this, we should just take the liberate the Tuscany area. It's about the same on war score, but it doesn't give us any antagonism. So I think that's what we'll do instead. We'll then take a bit of money. We're also demanding that they release this land here as independent nations. Most of these will be in the Holy Roman Empire because they're within the borders. The ones that aren't, we'll see if we can't invite them into. We're also going to demand they dissolve their league. We're in the Italian wars, and there's all these leagues around. The biggest one is actually Naples League, so we kind of want to dissolve it. Maybe people will join our league, or maybe not. The League War, this Italian war, isn't that interesting, and the rewards for winning aren't that good either. So I'm not that bothered about it. But let's do it anyway. There we go, peace is secured. These guys will become independent. Looks like they're willing to join the Holy Roman Empire straight away because they like us, they trust us. Apparently they don't like us because our league is different though, but let's invite them. The ones we can, which looks like it's all of them. There we go. The empire has been restored in Italy. No one non-imperial controls Italian land now. We'll see if we can invite those small little nations that we gave independence to join us. What's our imperial authority looking right now? 22. We still have some ways to go. Since we use favors to pull the French into our war with two Sicilies, we're going to do the same thing with the war with Hungary. Our casus belli did expire, so we're going to need to create a new one. Once we have the new casus belli, we should be able to pull the French into our war with the Hungarians. Oh dear, looks like France has finally turned their back on us. They've declared war on Savoy, and we're of course being called in to protect them as the Holy Roman Emperor. We could just say no, I guess, and let them just trample all over the empire. And what are our chances of winning? Who is Savoy's allies? They don't really have any. They've got Lorraine. That's it. Looks like they were allied with a bunch of people who've all refused the call to arms. Austria among them. One thing I'm unsure about is, as the Holy Roman Emperor, are we a co-belligerent when we join a defensive war like this? That being, will we be able to call in our own allies? I'm unsure. I guess let's try. Let's check it out. Let's see how it goes. France shot first. Since we've rushed the defense of Savoy, we've gained a whopping 0 imperial authority. How wonderful. It doesn't look like we've been able to call our allies in, so we're very much alone in this war. Just us and Savoy against 160,000 Frenchmen. Ooh, looks like we've got 2 big armies coming towards us. About 13,000 Bretons and 17,000 French. Let's pull back into our friendly Flanders territory. Is it time to call up the mercs? I think it is, actually. Who should we call up? Maybe I should do what I did in my England video. Who has a lot of cavalry? I'll probably have to go crawling to the Maghreb again. If they're even an option here. I'm not seeing them. No, I'm not seeing the Maghreb here. We're going to have to call for mercenaries from not as good places, unfortunately. I suppose what we could do is call up multiple mercenary groups with as many cavalry as we could. Let's just go through and see if we can, how many cavalry we can get from these various mercs. They're all bringing around one, so I guess I could just hire a bunch of one cavalries, which I honestly shouldn't be that expensive, because the cost will just be for those cavalry and nothing else. Thing is, though, I'd like to just hire one group all at once. Does Castile have a lot of cavalry? No, the Castilians don't. Neither does Leon. I guess we could just rely on infantry, but infantry, you know, they're just not as good as cavalry. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to call up as many cavalry as we can. I guess we'll gather them here in Flanders, or really anywhere we can gather them. That won't be a problem. We'll set the contracts to be as long as possible, because it doesn't actually increase the cost, it just means the contract is very long. And extending a contract costs money, so I don't know why you wouldn't just set the contract to be as long as you possibly can. Right, we've hired around 4,000 units of cavalry. Now the hard bit, making sure that they all live and can gather with our main army. Ooh. Oh, we're going to get caught. They're going to catch us here, I think. What are the numbers like? There's a lot of them. We're just going to have to take the fight and likely lose. Yep. A loss. We're retreating. Our mercenaries have started to spawn. We'll try and gather them to the north, and then we'll move what's left of our army up there as well. Try to gather everybody up here. Have all the mercenaries spawned? It looks like it. Should we start hiring more? The treasury's gonna take a bit of a knocking. We could always max minting for a bit, or we could bring down our diplomatic spending to help with the costs. How many soldiers does France have? They have 76,000. If we can defeat that 76,000, there is potential for us to win. Let's call up some more mercs. I regret not researching the option that made mercs cheaper, both in maintenance and hiring costs. I didn't expect to need to use them, which I should have. Clearly a mistake on my part, but that's part of the fun. All right, that's another 2,000 men. We're going to start minting now to max. It's going to increase the cost of hiring mercenaries, but hopefully we won't need to hire anymore. Which, you know, I'm not really confident saying that. We've got our grand army of around 5,000 cavalry now. But there's so many French and French vassals around. I think we're just going to have to bite the bullet and try and take a fight. If we can push them back somewhere, we can decrease the amount of guys we're going to face. So I think we're going to jump on these 16,000 here. They're all levies, only 1,000 cavalry. Let's hope we can just blow them away. And blow them away we did. Killed 6,000 of them, lost 300. We need all our fights to kind of go that way. There's a nice little battle. Full stack wiped some French vassals. There's a lot of French and French vassals gathered here on the little vassal of Flanders. I was going to say we should try and jump them, but they all ran away at the sight of us. Typical French. I guess we'll just murder whoever's left. Let's go for this group here that's kind of deep in our territory. Managed to catch some of them, but again, they ran away at the sight of us. Are we truly that horrifying? I guess let's go for this group here that's sieging down land in Flanders. Looks like these French aren't running. They're all levies though, so maybe they should be. Yep, there they go, annihilated. We did take 1,000 losses there. And I'm not sure we can afford to take that many. We've killed 50,000 of them so far. They're down to 90,000, but we're only on 9,000. Looks like Savoy's likely getting conquered. But Savoy is rather mountainous with some pretty strong forts, so hopefully it will take a while. And we can do a lot of damage to the French in the meantime. If we can thin the French numbers enough, there is potential for a comeback. Again, one of the problems is we're not the war leader, so we'll be relying on the Savoyans to actually make the decisions. And I'm not sure I trust them to do that. Here's a French army we're going to catch in Liege. I was going to watch it, but it went so fast. We killed 6,000 of them. I think that was the actual French army with regulars. Can't really look closely, though. Maybe not. What about these guys here? They're all just levies. We'll just murder them. There we go. Now 10,000 gone. Well, the numbers like now 60,000 of them, 9,000 of us still. These 9,000 are pretty much all us, with a few Flanders units roaming around. The French are down to only 35,000 though. The rest are all their vassals. The real thing is going to be trying to get to Savoy and trying to grab the French armies that are there, because it doesn't really matter what we do up here if Savoy gets full occupied, right? And I'd really like to grab those French armies and annihilate them. And annihilate them when we have the chance while they're sieging. Speaking of annihilating, these guys have decided not to run. Let's see if we can't take them out. Yep. Instantly won. They've retreated. Could we physically get to Savoy? We could. It's a straight walk down. It's a little risky though. It's scary. We're likely to face attrition and run out of food. Savoy should supply us with food once we get there though. It's a real risk. But I can't really afford the French taking any land. Well, what is the province is of Turin, I think. Yes. Do I know where Turin is? I don't think so. It's not entering my mind. I would assume it's one of the places directly on the border with France, but I'm not seeing it. But if I'm not seeing it, that's kind of... Oh, it's all the way over here. Dumb French. They don't even share a border with it. At least it's going to be a while before they can rack up war score from sieging it. So we're going to do it. We're just going to abandon our own lands, because they don't particularly matter. I'm going to head straight for these French guy here that are sieging, and we're going to try and clean them up. Grab the first guy. Easy win. Another 6,000 of them gone. Then we'll go for the second group. Ooh. Apparently we're going to lose this fight. I can't pull out now. It's locked in almost the moment I press to attack. So I guess we'll just see how it goes. Let's sell everyone all the prisoners we have, just to reduce our mass. So us 6,000 going up against the 16,000 French. Battle is of course joined. It's not looking too good. We are winning, but we're taking big casualties, which we can't really afford to take. Yes, we won, but as I said, we lost 3,000 men. 2,000 of those were of our cavalry. Something we can't really afford. We've now killed 100,000 French though, and we've racked up quite a lot of war score. Not enough to force a white peace though. We're going to try and flee back north to our territories, and we're going to hire some more mercs. Since all of the mercs we've already hired are kind of dead, they're not costing us money anymore. I am wary of really draining our treasury though. I've been kind of building it up in preparation of needing it, and this war isn't really going to profit me, even if we win. So it might be a bad idea to just spend it all here, but I must defend the empire. What would Charlemagne say if we abandoned it? Hopefully we don't get caught by any French as we try and flee back north. We've returned home. There's 4,000 of them. There's a big French army heading straight for us, though. There's actually quite a few mercenaries in this army. Not French ones, Navarran. They've got 4,000 mercenaries and then another 4,000 regulars. I'm not sure we want to fight that. Why do you guys have so many troops? I guess we'll try and run. We want to. This is a sort of army we want to avoid, at least for now. We're going to slip past. If they go south and siege down Savoy, that would be great, allowing us to clean up this area of the French vassals and of the French soldiers. What about this army over here? How strong are they looking? There's a lot of them. They've got a lot of regulars. This must be France's main regular army. Question is, can we defeat 16,000 of them with only 4,000 of us? 3,000 of it is cavalry though, but we've taken some pretty heavy casualties. Let's call up a few more mercenary regiments. Another 1,600. Oh, these guys have come back. We were really hoping they wouldn't, but they're sieging our capital. Hopefully that will distract them while we unite with our new mercenary groups. And now let's try and deal with these French down here. Our little buddies here have actually called up some mercenaries. They're all infantry, I think. It'd be really nice if they would attach to us, but it looks like they don't want to. They're going to do their own thing. I guess we'll go do our own thing as well. Or no, maybe they're following us now. That's perfect. An extra 2,000 mercenary infantry might be what we need to tip the balance. We're going in for the fight. Looks like it's just going to be a sweep. We lost 1,997 men, but we killed 6,000 of them, sent them off again. We even liberated some Savoyan captives, which is nice. There's only 43,000 French left. I'm starting to believe we might be able to win. What we're going to do is we're going to liberate the territory over here in an attempt to cut off the French that are sieging our capital, and so cause them attrition by cutting them off from their supplies. Looks like they've seen that and they're going to run. Can we fight them? Should we? There's around 7,000 of us and around 16,000 of them. Most of them are levies though. 9,000 of them, around 11,000 of them are just levies. infantry. The game thinks we're going to win. If the game says we're going to win, who am I to say otherwise? We'll try it. We'll risk it all. Part of the fun, right? Is risking it all. We nabbed them. How's it looking? It's looking like we're going to win. We're pushing them back in the center. We're dealing with the flanks. Question is, of course, going to be casualties. Looks like we lost around 900 men and killed 3,000. It's definitely a nice number. The French have returned to siege down that city again. An ample opportunity to do more damage to them. Let's just wipe them out. Another 3,000 dead. We lost 1,000 guys there. Not feeling good about our cavalry numbers. There's only 2,000 of us left. Would France agree to a white peace with me? They wouldn't. Probably because I don't have much war score. They have a little bit of war score against me, but against Savoy, they actually have negative war score of 38. Let's liberate our lands to increase the war score for our side. It's down to around 34,000 of them, 19,000 French, but we're kind of running out of soldiers. We could hire more mercenaries, and I think that's what we're going to do. How likely is it that Savoy will be able to get a peace? How willing are they to get peace is another thing. We can see the French roaming around here, but we're currently sitting at 54 war score. Savoy, of course, has the ticking war score, almost at max for ticking war score. We've fully liberated all of our land from the French occupiers. They're coming back, though. We managed to get the research that reduces the maintenance cost of mercs. That means next we're going to get the one that decreases mercenary cost by 20%. Our mercenary costs are already minus 20% from the feudal mercenary contracts privilege. So getting it down by another 20% will make it very easy to hire mercs. Looks like the French have pursued us all the way into Flemish land. Be nice if they got trapped, but it doesn't look like they're going to. Let's hire some mercs then. We'll try and wipe out this 8,000 or so guys that have decided to wander into our territory. We just need a few more good men to be thrown into the meat grinder, and we consider the peace table as men who have fought. There we go, another 3,800 mercs, although the French are coming right for us. Ooh, France is offering us a white peace. We could peace out here, but it'll be pointless if they just go on to defeat Savoy, which there's a good chance they will. It's not like Savoy can defend itself. So I think we're going to say no. We're going to stay in for the good of the Empire. Let's try and avoid... those French are running off to siege down the city. They always seem to siege down. Dornick. That's perfectly... just when I hired all of those mercenaries. But it looks like we've won. What do we get? France is paying war reparations to Savoy. They released this nation, which I'm not sure I can pronounce, so I'm not even going to try. They're not very big, though. Just a one location minor. France lost around 130,000 men over the course of the war. We lost 30,000. I'm not sure it's counting mercenaries here, but either way. What else did we get? They dismantled some of their forts, and they pay Savoy 300 or so ducats, with most of that, I assume, going to us. Glory to the Holy Roman Empire. We have triumphed against the vicious aggressors of France. We had foreseen that. Does that do anything for us? Do we gain imperial authority? Oh, we gain 10. Okay, that's pretty good. 10 imperial authority is definitely what I like to see. Fortunately, we now have all these mercs that are just, they've been hired. War's kind of over, though, but dismissing them would cost money. So I guess we kind of need to find something to do with them. Luckily, we didn't manage to go into debt. We do need to get our inflation down a little, though. As I said, it's too bad we weren't leading that war, or I would have just taken France to the cleaners. And as if on cue, our ruler dies. We've lost the Holy Roman Emperorship again, because I just don't keep track of who's voting for me. So we just need to increase relationships a little with the electors to ensure that we win. It'd be incredibly ironic if we now lost the Holy Roman Empireship after just bleeding to defend the empire against the French. These sort of things happen, though. There we go, we've been elected. That gives us a little bit of imperial authority. We're close to being able to pass another issue. Now that France has really shown itself to be our enemy, I guess it's time for us to start thinking about taking the fight to them. Unfortunately, they're not our rival. Could we set them as our rival? Who's our current rivals? Apparently, we like France too much to make them our rival. Where can I see my own opinion? There we go. We have 200 opinion of France, and I'm not sure I can really decrease it, funnily enough. Oh well, we don't necessarily need to increase it. We could go for the Imperial Liberation casus belli and just try and give independence to as many French vassals and territory as possible to weaken them. France is keeping a lot of imperial members as hostages, essentially, so we'd like to liberate them if we can. There we go, we've got the mercenary premium cost, minus 20, meaning it's nearly 50% off for us to hire mercenaries from this point on. Looking at the parliament for the Holy Roman Empire, we have access to one debate. Imperial military support. Every member will transfer 1% of their yearly income to me and 5% of their yearly manpower. If it fails, we'll lose 10 imperial authority, although I'm not sure we'll be able to pass it. We'll only start with 7% support. I'm not sure I want to risk it. Instead, we could pass another issue within the HRE. We were unable to pass Imperial dynastic preference previously. Maybe now we should try again. Or maybe we should now try and really get that manpower from the free cities. I'm not sure. I mean, there's a lot of free cities, but I'm not... How much manpower would a free city even have? Now, look at this guy. He doesn't even have a standing army. I don't even think he has any manpower. But maybe it's not based on the amount of manpower they actually gain, but based on their size? We just don't know. Well, I mean, so you guys probably know. I don't know. And maybe it's better that way. But if we are going merc heavy, which we may well be doing now, it might be better to instead pass the law that made all of the free cities into subjects that paid us income. That way we'll get more money, obviously, from the many free cities around, and we can use that to bankroll our mercenaries. That does sound appealing. Oh yeah, we should integrate Flanders now as well. I almost forgot. We'll begin the Flanderian integration. It's going to take a little while. Our mercenary contracts have started to run out, and that's fine though. I don't want to... I'd rather they just run out on their own than me dismissing them, because dismissing them costs money. Like if you look at this one, dismissing him will cost 45 ducats. Dismissing this one will cost 183 ducats. Oh god, really? France is attacking Savoy again? How are they even able to? Would the truce even have ended? I don't think we're in a position to join this one. France is weaker, I'm sure, but we haven't recovered. I think we're going to have to say no. And instead we're going to prepare to actually just strike the French down. It's going to hurt. It's probably going to cost us imperial authority. Let's see. We're going to decline. Didn't cost us anything. I expected it to. I guess not. I mean, maybe we could have won. There's only 40,000 French. They haven't recovered nearly even close to their numbers. Maybe I made a mistake not joining. Either way, we're going to prepare to demolish the French. We're going to start fabricating a casus belli. It's going to be an imperial... Do we want to go for imperial ban? Or imperial liberation? We did imperial ban. It showed we weren't able to take land that wasn't part of the HRE. France does control a fair bit of HRE land, so maybe we should just go for an imperial ban. I'm not sure how imperial subjugation works. I assume it forces him to... It lets us release vassals, obviously. But why would I go for it over imperial ban? I think we're going to go for imperial ban. I like imperial ban. Imperial ban has my back. If we could get an alliance with Castile, we could also have them support us against the French. We're very close to getting an alliance with them. If we start improving relations, it shouldn't be too difficult. We've managed to get imperial authority high enough that we can pass that law to make the free cities into subjects that pay us income. I'm curious to see how much we're going to make. Even if it's not that much, the next tier that we could go for would turn them into vassals that actually would join our wars. So I think we're going to go for it. Let's see if it passes. It looks like most people are voting for it. Everyone loves us, as they should. Well, it's going to be a little close, 70%. It's really fluctuating between 70 and 60. I'm feeling pretty confident. Looks like it's all good. And there we go. It looks like it's going to end at 69. Perfect number. Alien alliance secured. We've gone over our diplomatic capacity by a little bit. We've managed to pass the law. In the year of our Lord, 1447, the most supreme Augustus, Holy Roman Empire, Gustav Wilhelm II Karling, Romanorum, Imperator, crowned by God, has again convened the estates of the Holy Roman Empire. The imperial deities agreed to limit the autonomy of any free city, consolidating the power of the Holy Roman Empire within the empire. Reign in the cities. Every free city now becomes our subject. A lot of them are very unhappy about this. This may have been a mistake. They consider their power more than ours when they compare their power against everything. I guess we'll be diplomatic spending maxing for a while. I was also going into centralization because I wasn't expecting to have too many vassals. They've managed to improve it, so they're just disloyal now. We'll need to improve our strength. Now they're going to form independence movements, which is annoying. Was this all just a huge mistake? Hopefully not. We've been able to join a coalition against France. Maybe it's time. Instead of using our liberate land CB, we'll just take the fight to the French directly with a coalition CB. We're going to be calling in a lot of people. We could also call in Castile, although Milan won't join. The whole reason I allied with you, Milan, is so I could call you into a war like this. I think we're going to do it. The French are still at war with Savoy, so it's really the perfect time to jump them because they're not at full strength. Let's do it. Coalition CB makes it very cheap for us to take land. Begun the war has. Really, it should be just a straight up win for the coalition. France's army is nowhere near strong enough to defy it. We might not even need to do anything. And that's the way I like it. But how this war goes with the French is something we'll have to see next time. I probably should have stopped before I even started the war, but it is what it is. As I said, I'm pretty sure we're just going to flatten them. Although we've already lost 60,000 men, not sure how. Maybe the French are just that good. But I'm feeling pretty confident. For now though, this is the end of the video. Let me know what you think or thought. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.